Oh boy, I think I'm on here twice. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there's something not right. Hmm, hmm. Hi, everybody. Just give me one moment. There is technical difficulty here. Hmm, okay. I got it. Let me see here. I hope everybody can see me. I think I got my technical difficulties sorted out. So, hi there. I'm Lisa Shield, and this is Lunch with Lisa. It is a pleasure to see you all today. And we're going to talk about a subject that I think is important. I don't know how long this conversation is going to be because it's not one I have a lot to say about, but we'll see how it goes. Sometimes I get talking and can't stop me. So we'll just see where this one goes. So, this is about how to talk to a partner about their friends, their friends of the opposite sex. Sometimes that can feel very threatening, especially if you're a woman and you have a boyfriend or a husband who has female friends. And for some of you, that can really feel challenging. I've coached lots of couples and I've coached lots of women who have been incredibly uncomfortable with their partner's friends because they're suspicious of the relationships that they have with them. And they've also been through relationships in the past where they have had partners who have betrayed them, either having emotional affairs with other women or having emotional affairs that may have turned into physical affairs. And also, if a partner is still friends with exes, that can feel very threatening because why would your guy be friends with his ex when that's over? And especially if she has an interest in him or in getting him back, and you feel like maybe that's her agenda. So, the first thing is it's important to take a deep breath and see how much of this is you. Maybe you're being suspicious because of your past hurts and past betrayals. And maybe you're with a really, really good guy who just happens to have some female friends and you're projecting your fears onto him and onto your new relationship. That's a very real possibility. When we've been wounded and damaged, it's not like you just get rid of that and everything's great and you go into the next relationship, free and clear. You really have to have processed through all of that and really looked at it and let it go and forgiven the other person and looked at your part in why some of that may have happened. Maybe in a past relationship, you saw things and you knew in your gut that something was wrong, but you still stayed and you tried to make it work. Even when you knew something was really off, maybe you were with a guy who was being secretive. He kept his phone down. He was texting, going into the bathroom and texting a lot. Maybe you saw messages popping up from other women, or you saw other women liking his Instagram posts when they shouldn't be, and you saw these signs, but it made you really uncomfortable and you talked about it with him, but in your heart of hearts you really knew it wasn't okay. and still you stayed and you put up with it, and then you wound up getting hurt. So that's the first thing. You need to look at yourself and really ask yourself, what am I doing? What did I do? What signs did I ignore? Did I stay too long in something that I knew was wrong? And you have to take responsibility for that yourself. You have to look at your choices. It's very easy in relationships to blame the other person. I stayed with my ex. He didn't cheat on me. It's not like he had a lot of girlfriend, female friends and stuff. But I chose to stay with my husband, who was a pathological liar, for 13 years. And even though I know he was a pathological liar, and I'm clear about that, I ignored things that I knew were wrong, and I rationalized things in my head because I didn't want to be alone and I didn't want to leave him. I cared about him. And so I had to look at the choices I made, and I had to take responsibility for myself. So that's the first thing. If you're projecting on an ex, you've got to really look at that and maybe get therapy or do some work on yourself to let those things go, because you could get into another relationship and sabotage something very, very good because you're seeing through this lens of jealousy and betrayal. So first of all, if you have been hurt, you've got to look at that. Again, if you're in a relationship with someone who really is acting suspicious and he is, there for his exes, he's being sort of a pseudo boyfriend, she's still calling him to say, oh my God, I have this problem, or can you help me with that? Or she's still coming to your current partner for advice. That's something also to be concerned about. Why is he still trying to help her? Why does he feel responsible? Now, if it's an ex-wife and they have children together, that's a different story. If this was a former wife or partner and they have kids together, or they have unresolved things that they're still trying to resolve from being a couple, that's a different story. But if she's just calling him up for advice and leaning on him the way that she would have done when they were in a relationship, that's something he needs to have a boundary around, in the same way that you would need to do that with your exes. So that's a legitimate thing, to put up a boundary around that and say, look, I understand that you have a relationship and a history with this former partner of yours, and I'm not comfortable with her calling you up and you two, using you as her confidant. My sense is that she's not over you, and it's important for you to have good boundaries with her for me to feel safe in this relationship. And then you sit back and you see what he does. Now, you may ask a few questions. You can say, I'm curious why you're letting this go on. What is it that is making you feel that you need to be there for her? And may I ask you why you haven't put up clear boundaries and really created a very clear delineation here, so that she understands that you're in a new relationship and that I'm now your primary partner, and that it isn't okay for her to be calling you out of the blue for advice. If he has a lot of female friends, and some men do. Some men may have grown up in a family with a lot of women. Maybe he was raised by a single mother. Maybe he had sisters, a lot of women around him, and he's used to relating better to women than to men. Some guys are. They really love female companionship. They like the company of women. If that makes you jealous and you get into a relationship with a man that you know going into it has a lot of female friends, and that makes you uncomfortable, and he's had these friendships for a long time and they're just friends, it is very, very important for you to look at inside yourself and really look at the jealousy that you may be experiencing and ask yourself if maybe, just maybe, there's something about you that's getting triggered. Because if you enter into a relationship knowingly with somebody who says, look, I have a lot of female friends, these women have been friends of mine for a long time, and he's not hiding them, he's not keeping them from you, then that's something that you need to look at, because that was there before you were a part of his life. And in the same way that if you had friendships from before, you wouldn't want somebody telling you that you had to cut off your friendships with men or guys that you've known for a long time that are completely platonic, unless those men were interested in you. So don't make up stories. Don't, be judging your guy. But if something really does feel weird to you, then you can say something. But if these are, long friendships with women that he's had in his life for a long time, and you know that going into the relationship, you have to be comfortable with a guy who's like that. Now, the great news is if he's really comfortable with other women, he will be probably very comfortable with you. He'll be open and kind, and he'll be the kind of guy that, likes to have conversation with women and knows how to open up and have great conversations with women. So you got to look at that. And if you're threatened by his friends, he may not be the guy for you. My husband doesn't have a lot of female friends. He just doesn't. When I met him, I think there was one woman he had been involved with previously, and they would go and have dinner every once in a while. And that was fine. It didn't bother me. I had some male friends or boyfriends from before I met him who I may talk to on the phone, or I may have seen once in a while. Those people have long since disappeared, but recently one of my boyfriends came back into my former boyfriends came back into my life, and it was wonderful to talk to him after all these years. And we had the most incredible conversation. I think we talked for 2.5 hours. And my husband, Benjamin, was so thrilled. He said, how is he? And, gosh, that must have been amazing. And we talked about the conversation, because it really was special for me to be able to talk to this man that I had been involved with for 2 years. But Benjamin wasn't threatened by that. He doesn't feel like this man is trying to come back into my life, or that he's any threat to him. So we keep this very clean, and we talk about it. We share about it. There's nothing hidden or secretive. And we've always been very open about our previous relationships. But Benjamin is not a man who has a lot of female friendships. And I'm not a woman who has a lot of male friendships. Most of my friends are female. So when I hang out, I go to dinner. I just had a wonderful dinner with my friend Martha 2 nights ago. And, I saw my friend Tonya the week before that. Yeah, it was lovely. So I really want to put it out there that you can find a guy who doesn't have a lot of female friends. And if that's your preference, I highly recommend that you look for somebody like that. So one of the greatest things, when I was coaching before I do whoops. I am getting some messages from somebody. I'm just going to let her know that I'm doing a Facebook Live. Let's see, and we'll let you know when I am finished. Okay, so and I am gonna. All right, we're gonna stop the little alarm bells there. Okay, so getting back to when I was coaching uh, one-on-one, I used to do a lot of couples, a lot of women, a lot of single men. And when I was doing that, now I have a 12-week course where I have a group program. I teach women how to find the guardian of their soul. So if you want to learn more about that, go over to lisashield.com and click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. You can stay to the end of that. And at the end, you can book a call with me or a member of my team, and we'll show you how to get this out, how to find true love. But before I created this course, I did a lot of one-on-one coaching. And what one of my couples did, which I just thought was brilliant, they made an agreement that they would introduce each other to their friends of the opposite sex. So he introduced her to all of his female friends, and she introduced him to all of her male friends. There were no secrets. It was very copacetic. They all got, they were very transparent about that. And it was brilliant. It was really lovely because they wanted to include each other in those friendships. They were excited about introducing each other, not only to their friends, their female and male friends, but just to their friend groups so that they could integrate all of that. And I just thought that that was lovely, lovely. And both of them cooperated. Both of them were very willing to do this. And there was no secrecy. There was just an openness and a willingness to integrate into each other's worlds and into each other's lives. So Jeanette said, one of our listeners wrote in and said, how do we self-soothe the deep abandonment feelings that persist? Jeanette, that's a brilliant question. And please, anybody who wants to ask questions, please send your questions in. We'd love to see them. Jeanette, obviously, you can always work with a therapist to talk through those things. In my program, I give my clients tools for self-soothing. So we have processes that we do, forgiveness processes, use writing Ho'oponopono letters to somebody to release the pain from a past relationship. We have a lot of techniques that we use in my 12-week program that I teach the women. But you can do this in therapy, or you can do it through journaling. You can do it through a forgiveness practice, a self-forgiveness practice, and also forgiveness, doing some meditation where you go through forgiveness processes. So there's a lot of ways to let this go. I personally, and I don't say this lightly, I think that one of the most wonderful things about working with me and my husband and doing our 12-week Emotionally Naked Dating program is that we really help you put the pieces of the puzzle together for why you may have gotten hurt in the first place. We help you understand the nature of the man that you may have been with. And also we help you look at your own wounding, your own suffering, the choices you made, and why you may have put up with a guy that wasn't really right for you. And so we really shed a light on why these things happen so that you can not only forgive him, but you can forgive yourself and move forward. So a lot of therapy focuses on the past, where you're just processing a past hurt, but it doesn't give you the way forward. And that's really why so many of us stay stuck, because we can't put the pieces of the puzzle together. So we're really stuck in the past, processing and rethinking and rethinking and going over something again and again. And sometimes what we really need is a way forward. And so that's what we give our clients. We show you a real way forward so that you don't repeat the same mistakes, so that you can spot the signs, so you know the right questions to ask, and you know the right way to ask them. So this is what we do. I really think that that's it. I think that you need to look inside yourself. You have to be very, very clear about how you may be projecting on a man, how you may be triggered by certain behaviors that are innocent on his part, but are bringing up past hurts. And really check in with yourself, because if you've been through a relationship where you've been betrayed and lied to by a partner who was seeking female attention outside of the relationship and wound up betraying you, maybe telling things to another woman that you would have thought he would be telling you, where he may have had an emotional or physical affair. You need to look at yourself first. And then you need to be very clear about who this man is that you're with now. Is he being secretive, or is he really a good person? Is he open? Is he being emotionally naked with you? If you say to him, I would love to meet your female friends, it would really make me comfortable. In the past, I had a partner who was very secretive and actually broke my heart because he betrayed me and wouldn't introduce me to his exes and his female friends. And it would make me feel so safe and so comfortable in this relationship with you if you would be willing to do that for me. And I would be willing to introduce you to any of my male friends and any of my exes that I'm still in contact with. So that's really what I suggest. And then you have to sit back and see if he follows through. If he says, sure, I'd be happy to, and then he makes plans and he, makes sure that you meet his friends, wonderful. But if he doesn't, then you need to look at that, because it's also very important to be with a man of his word. So another listener wrote, let's see here. Whoops. Let's see if we can take this off. Nope, not working. Okay. All right, there we go. What do you do when the guy you are dating doesn't think having close guy friends is appropriate? Well, I think if you have good friends and these are completely platonic relationships, you need to introduce him to your male friends. You need to say, look, I'm more than happy for you to meet these guys. They're really great. I've known them a long time and there's nothing there. It's all platonic. And I'm sure they would love to meet you too. Then that's great. Now, you also have to be clear with yourself. If any of these guys are interested in you, maybe a lot of us hold on to exes and hold on to men and friendships that we know are really interested in us. It makes us feel good. We don't want to cut them off because we like the attention. It kind of feeds our egos. So if you want to have clean relationships, you got to be really clean and honest with yourself and with your partner about what's really going on there. But if these are just platonic relationships with men that you've known for a while, maybe you went to school together or you worked with them or whatever, I would suggest that you introduce your current boyfriend or guy that you're seeing to these men, and that you be transparent about it. And if he's jealous, if he's trying to control you or control who you're friends with, you need to look at that, because that's not good either. And that does happen. That's another aspect of this whole conversation. that some people are very manipulative and controlling, and that can actually be a sign of a narcissist. If somebody is trying to control who your friendships, your relationships with family, with other people, and they're trying to isolate you or cut you off from those people, not a good sign. So pay attention to that. Another listener wrote, my boyfriend of over 2 years does not want to meet a few of my male friends. One is an ex, which I can understand. Another is a good friend who I've known for 5 years. We have gotten together once, which my boyfriend knows about because he asked, but we are strictly friends. He does not want to meet him. He says he doesn't want to meet anyone who I've been intimate with. I find that a bit extreme. I would like to invite him to get-togethers, but he won't budge. You have to think about what's really going on here and ask yourself if this person, if your boyfriend is emotionally mature enough for you, or if this is something, because sometimes one behavior can be a symptom of something much deeper. So you have to, excuse me, you have to really look at whether or not this is something that is an isolated incident or if it's symptomatic of something deeper. I really think it's important, if you're going to be in a healthy, loving, lasting relationship, that two people are open and transparent and emotionally mature. You want to be with somebody who has a certain level of emotional maturity. So I would really look at that and ask yourself, is this an isolated case or, just one glitch in an otherwise wonderful relationship? And can I make room for that? Can I make room for this man who I love and adore and is good to me and who is otherwise a kind and loving person? Can I make room for that in this relationship because there's so much good here? Or is this a symptom of something much deeper and much bigger? Is this a symptom of someone who's just very emotionally immature? And is this something that I just can't live with? We really need to look at these things. I will just share one last thing, and then I'm going to say goodbye. But with my dating, I became very, very, very clear about who I am. I had done a tremendous amount of interpersonal work before I met my husband. And I knew who I was and I knew what I was bringing to the relationship by the time I started dating and looking for the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And I decided that I wanted somebody who was emotionally mature, who had gone to therapy, who had done work on himself, so that we didn't have these kinds of issues, so that we could really love and support each other and have open communication. And so I drew very clear lines of what I was willing to accept and what I wouldn't accept in a relationship. So I got the relationship I wanted. I went on 96 first dates to do that, but Benjamin and I have been together for 20 years and I adore him. We don't fight, we don't argue, we don't ask each other to play small. We make room for both of us in this relationship. And I share that because it's really possible for two people to show up as mature, loving adults for one another. So I am Lisa Shield. This has been Lunch with Lisa. Thank you so, so much for listening. Please tell your friends about this broadcast. I do this every Thursday, so please come back and see me again. Also, if you're interested, go to lisashield.com, click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. It really is good. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen it many times myself, and I'm always proud of that presentation because I think it offers a lot of wonderful, wonderful advice. And if you really want to just get this solved, you want to find your partner and get off the dating sites and not have to keep going on that merry-go-round, looking for a needle in a haystack. I just mixed my metaphors there. Please, please, please book a call with us and let us show you what we can do for you. You can get this solved. I know it's for some of you, it seems unsolvable, but I'm going to tell you, with the right roadmap, you can find true love and not have to ever date again. So go to lisashield.com, watch my free 45-minute presentation, stay to the end to book a call. Please like and rate my podcast. There's lots of episodes, well over 100. You can find them anywhere you get your podcast. And please send us your suggestions. We get our best suggestions. In fact, this one came from a listener like you. So please send us your suggestions. I'd be happy to talk about anything that's really important to you. So you can send that to podcast@lisashield.com. And finally, I do a second broadcast every Sunday with my husband, Benjamin, and that is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. So if you really want to get inside of the mind of one of the most wonderful men on the planet, my husband, Benjamin, then join us for that as well. I'm Lisa Shield, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for listening, and a special thank you to those of you who sent in questions. Love to you all, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.